Mrs. Mason, along the lines, you indicated during your opening statement about some of the things that Senator Blumenthal is talking about. But I share, my number one question on my list is to ask you how your experience as a senior advisor to Secretary Collins will inform your work and priorities as the VA Inspector General, and how would you maintain objectivity and independence and avoid even the appearance of impropriety, given that you have been serving as a senior political leader at the department when you're now undertaking a new task with different responsibilities?
Well, thank you, Senator Moran, and I appreciate the question, and Senator Blumenthal, I acknowledge your remarks. So let me start with facts and evidence. As a lawyer and as a previous investigator, facts are extremely important. So let's look at the facts of who Cheryl Mason is and my track record. I noted that I had worked at the department for 28 years as part of my 30 years of service. Those 28 years were spent at the Board of Veterans Appeals, an independent, impartial organization that holds the department accountable to follow the law and implement veterans benefits and services under the decisions made. I spent 20 years of my time, including my time as chairman, as a judge at the board. So when the president asked me to return as senior advisor, the role is not as many assume the senior advisor role may be, at least not my role as senior advisor. My role was to use that knowledge I had of VA and that experience I had as an impartial, independent fact finder and advisor to the secretary on things I understood and knew about VA as a subject matter expert in veterans law and in leadership. So the senior advisor role was to gather information, much like a fact finder does, and convey that information to the secretary and to other senior leaders. So it's it correlates well to Inspector General. The difference is Inspector General has teeth, and that is very much what is needed. In the department, I saw it from my 28 years in the department as an attorney and judge and chairman. I had to protect the independence of the board on a number of occasions against interference. And, those were things that I would do again as Inspector General if confirmed.
Mrs. Mason, under the Inspector General Act, the IG serves under the VA Secretary, but has a dual and independent reporting relationship with the United States Congress. Explain how, if confirmed, would you balance those dual responsibilities owed to separate branches of the government whose interests may at times conflict?
Well, thank you for that question, Chairman Moran. And, as the daughter of a government teacher who I cut my teeth on the Watergate hearings, I well understand the differences and the responsibilities of all three branches of government, the executive branch and the judicial branch and the legislative branch. And indeed, as you note, Inspector General is unique as much as I am in serving both reporting to the secretary and reporting to this committee. And I acknowledge the oversight of this committee, just as I did as chairman. It's extremely important that you have that relationship with the IG so that you can bring those issues. And you can also report those same issues to the secretary to ensure there's awareness of issues and concerns. So the secretary needs to know what's going on in his world, and you need to know what's going on at VA.
Ms. Mason, why do you think the VA has yet to implement so many recommendations made by the Inspector General? And if confirmed, how would you anticipate working with the VA to close out as many of those recommendations as possible and make certain that future recommendations by the IG are acted on in a much more timely manner?
Thank you for the question, Chairman. If confirmed, that is one of the areas that does concern me. There are over 500 pending, open, unimplemented recommendations from the IG, some going back as long as 7 years. I believe there needs to be an inventory and accountability on those, follow-up with all of those recommendations, even the ones that the department has taken. It's the responsibility of the IG to follow up and monitor to ensure that those are properly being followed. And that's something that I would be setting up as IG, working with the staff as I assess how they work and how they do their work, because I think following up with those important recommendations to ensure that we're providing the best services, care, and benefits to veterans is extremely important.
Thank you for your answers to my questions, Senator Blumenthal.